welcome to Thought Your Woke No Speed Limit podcast. I am your host, Alvin. I hope you guys are having a terrific day. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. The tragic case Carmelo Anthony and Metcalf uh, just concluded. Carmelo Anthony was found guilty of murder. I don't know whether it was first degree or second degree, but it was, the court gave the jury the option to choose either murder or manslaughter, and they chose murder. Uh, I'm upset about the ruling. I will say this: I am biased, and I have to be very biased at this point because of what happened in South Carolina with the store owner that killed a 14-year-old boy that did not steal from him, but he shot him in the back because he was chasing him beyond his business. Um, I'm going to do a more thorough podcast on both of these on the Carmelo thing. I've already done an original podcast on the Carmelo incident where I talked about what happened. Now we understand something I think I did put in the last video. It was raining at the time, and it was raining at the time, so Carmelo decided to go under the tent to protect himself. He said, "Wow, this crazy weather we're having right now," or something he said to them, and they all laughed, jokes, so on and so forth. Then he got a hand when the brother said, "What are you doing here?" You know. Then apparently Metcalf touched Anthony, or pushed Anthony, even though everybody says that wasn't aggressive. And I want you to define the non-aggressive push. A non-aggressive push. Even the ones when we playing football and somebody pushes you, even if they're your own teammate, it's aggressive. I'm trying to find out where there's a non-aggressive push. But by Texas law, just pushing somebody is not enough to say that that is self-defense. But at the same time, why was this first-degree murder and not manslaughter? We have a lot of questions. Why did Anthony bring a knife to the event? I have no idea why he ended up under their tent. Why were there no teachers in the vicinity? There was a teacher who said that he saw what was going on and he approached. But again, I'm lost for words because I just don't trust the testimony of students, and that's the only thing you have. The only witnesses you have in this case are the students under that. And the one student they had an opportunity has obviously been intimidated because the one student was, I don't know how to say this. He said, "I didn't really know Anthony, and we knew each other in passing. And how is it that the prosecution finds pictures of you with this particular person, that you went on a double date and all these things?" There was lying going on. So there is a case for appeal. Secondly, let me remind you that the three black jurors in this case were dismissed not because they were black. They were dismissed because they were teachers, which is a technicality that these, from what my understanding from listening to other lawyers, that is allowed in courts, and this happens all the time. So this isn't the first time, won't be the last time this type of thing happened. But because they were teachers, they were dismissed from the court. Uh, Again, there's a lot of questions in this case, the Carmelo case, and I'm just giving this because this is my quick synopsis. The verdict just came in. He has been found guilty of murder. Um, I haven't really stuck around to see what the reaction was outside the court, and I also had problems with the issues outside the court. So let me talk about this real quick, and then I'll try to conclude this as quickly as I possibly can. This young man uh, drew a lot of attention from people on the white side, on the black side. The father, like he said, this isn't a case of race. It has nothing to do with race. I wish that didn't happen. But because the issue was brought up, there was a certain group of people, including one individual. Uh, his name blanks my mind right now, but I do know that he was pardoned. He was a January Sixer who was talking about how the white race is being victimized in this country by people of color, especially black men who are very violent, according to him. He got upset with the father because the father would not kowtow to what he was saying. And this individual, like I said, he's among other individuals there. And there are black people there who are on the other side who said black people just don't get no justice. You know, this man, the boy got self defense and yada yada. And like I said, the one thing I saw crazy with the case was how the black jurors were dismissed. I'm not saying this was racial tension. Here's the original thing to me. It was two teenage boys getting into it, and one decided to defend himself because he felt like he needed to defend himself, and he killed this young man, whether it was right or wrong. Okay, so I'm coming from my angle on this case. This is different than what happened in South Carolina, where a man decides I'm gonna chase somebody for $1 bottle of water out the door and down the street. I'm going to chase them down the street and kill them. You understand? I was in loss prevention, and I'm going to say this out loud. Once they get out past that door, if you chase them, you are liable. It's no longer about whether they stole from you or not. You are liable. Anything that happens to that person in a parking lot anywhere else, it is beyond your jurisdiction. So once they get out of that parking lot, 100 yards away from that building, that was beyond their jurisdiction. But we'll get back to South Carolina some other time. Let's get back to the Karmelo Anthony case and the fact that this young man had nobody on his side as far as witnesses go. The defense had very little to work with. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody's going to say they're just doing a piss poor job. Maybe they did, because you have to attack lies. And people will say they will give facts. And I'm not saying they didn't give the actual facts, because in a court case, it's about proving your point. The prosecution did what it needed to prove its case. The defense needed to do everything it could to destroy their case, and they didn't do it. As far as I'm concerned, you should have went after each one of those jurors. You should have studied each witness. Yeah, you should have done a better job. To me, that's just me. I'm wrong. I'm not a lawyer. Other lawyers are saying no. These guys are actually doing the best they can under the circumstances. So I'm just lost for words. Maybe on the appeals he'll get a lesser sentence. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen at this point. But he has been found guilty of murder. And like I said, I will do a full podcast on this at some other time. I'm just flabbergasted right now. This is flooring me. I'm just kind of hurt, uh, tired of these cases, tired of these young men. I'm gonna say this: Eric Metcalf did not deserve to die. Carmelo Anthony did not deserve to be in that situation. There's two young men whose lives have been destroyed. One who will never, you know, see the light of day again on this earth, and another young man who, by making a bad decision now, faces the consequence of his rest of his life being ruined. So, uh, this is just it's just awful right now. I don't know what else to say. I can't say anything else. People have brought up all kind of evidence and things that were wrong with the case, and there's something wrong with our justice system anyway. Um, the young man was 17, so he's tried as an adult. That means he's going to adult prison. Um, it's the world we live in. Again, thank you for listening. I thought you were woke. No Speed Limit podcast. I am also available on Spotify, Amazon, uh, Pandora. Uh, there is Podbox, Podcast, several other platforms, including iHeartRadio. I am available on those also. So make sure that you subscribe, follow on all those sites, and leave a comment below. Y'all have a good day.